administration investigated for corruption. And in sport, a top-ranked table tennis player dropped from the Trinidad national team for the CSA Games. I'm Ricardo Robertson. This is Caribbean in 10 for Wednesday, July 11. I'll be back with the details in just a moment. In Barbados, where the island's Attorney General, Dale Marshall, is sending a warning to ministers in the previous administration that they can be investigated for corruption. Yesterday, he openly accused some of the former Democratic Labour Party ministers of corruption. While he did not identify anyone in particular, Marshall said enough for people to deduce where his investigation was headed. He promised to do everything in his power to bring those culpable to justice. At the same time, the Attorney General warned private sector officials not to engage in bribery and corrupt practices, saying that those who pay bribes were just as guilty as those who accept them.
For so long as I am Attorney General of this country, intend to strain every sinew of mine to the point of breaking. I intend to engage every agency of the Crown, either in Barbados or outside of Barbados. I intend to do everything that I can, sir, to bring the perpetrators of that dishonest activity to heel. Because, sir, by engaging in that kind of dishonest conduct, they have robbed you, they have robbed me, they have robbed our children, they have destroyed this economy, and they have given Barbados a bad name. And I, for one, will have none of it.
Marshall made the comments as he tabled the Integrity in Public Life Bill in Parliament. The bill was one of the critical pieces of legislation which the Mia Mottley-led Barbados Labour Party had promised to introduce in the campaign leading up to the May 24th general election. Marshall said there were many whisperers of corrupt practices involving several politicians, as well as bribes being paid by some individuals and business people for various services, including contracts, licenses, and permits. He says a special team will be set up to spearhead the fight against corruption.
The courts are going to be involved, and I want to say that I've already begun to put together a team of individuals to advise and to help to direct the process. And let me say that this work will not be done by public servants. I have got the permission of the Prime Minister to engage such skills as I need from outside of the public service and even from outside of Barbados to be able to help us to ferret out the incidences of corruption in Barbados that we know about, sir, but for which we have no proof.
In Jamaica, the general manager of state-owned oil refinery Petrojam is the first official at the state-run oil refinery to become a casualty amid a growing list of allegations of corruption, financial mismanagement, and cronyism. Prime Minister Andrew Holness said Floyd Gridley has left after discussions with the new Petrojam board. He made the disclosure as he gave a statement on the Petrojam controversy in the House of Representatives yesterday evening.
Today, the general manager of Petrojam agreed to separate from the company. New arrangements will shortly be announced for the management leadership of the entity.
Also indicated that more changes to Petrodram's management are coming. Last week, scores of workers at Petrodram staged a protest demanding that Grindley and the human resource manager Yolande Ramaharak be sacked. A Caribbean-American legislator has been arrested for protesting United States President Donald Trump's nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court. New York State Lieutenant Governor candidate Jumaane Williams, the son of Grenadian immigrants who represents the 45th Council District in Brooklyn, was arrested Monday night outside Trump Tower in Midtown Manhattan as he protested the president's nomination of District of Columbia's Court of Appeal Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the highest court in America. Williams was charged with disorderly conduct and released from New York Police Department custody shortly after midnight. Stay with us, your Midday Sport is next.
Conscience is a bit about his album It Feel Good. In fact, he's planning a tour to promote the album next month. It Feel Good is Conscience's third studio album. Released on March 2nd, the set boasts 16 tracks. He said that the early promotional efforts being handled in North America by his label, Empire, are being carried out in the hip-hop market. But even as he makes preparation for intense promotion, Conscience is studying the market's feedback to a set that demonstrates his diversity.
Her passion for what she believes is unmatched.
So you couldn't, I wanted to get to the point where you can shake me off that perfect piece.
She's a book-off radio host, philanthropist, and motivational speaker.
And I said, I'm going to write you a check for $10,000, which I'm not.
Spirit, soul, and body.
To get them some help through the transition.
I'm Karita D, and you're listening to Girlfriend Get a Life.
Welcome back. It's now time for sport. In Trinidad and Tobago, attorneys for top-ranked Dexter St. Louis say the Table Tennis Association was wrong to exclude him from the national team heading for the CAC Games ending at the end of this month. An arbitration panel gave the association a 4 p.m. deadline on Tuesday to reselect members for the regional team. But CMC Sport understands the team has not been selected. No reason was given as to why St. Louis was dropped, but his lawyers insist that the player needs to be included.
Attorneys representing Dexter St. Louis, Matthew Gale and Shariza Khan, think the decision to reselect a team for the CAC Games was justifiable. They claim the Trinidad and Tobago Table Tennis Association was unjustifiable in excluding St. Louis from selection.
There was basically no good reason for why he wasn't selected. They said that economic factors, they took into consideration whether or not the athletes were able to sponsor themselves. But at the same time, Dexter was never given an opportunity to say whether or not he was willing to sponsor himself. So that factor in itself was moot.
They contended that the issue needs a further investigation.
So one of the things that Dexter St. Louis has done this morning, and actually before the arbitration decision was issued, is make a call to the TTOC to investigate this issue further, because clearly it's not right when persons are paying cash for places on teams to represent Trinidad and Tobago.
And that's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.